Hello students, today we'll look at graphs of quadratic functions. In fact, we have already learned that graphs of quadratic functions are parabolas. Parabola can be either upward parabola or downward parabola. For our easy remembering, we have said that graphs of quadratic functions are U-shaped. We have also learned that there are different forms of quadratic functions, namely the standard form, the factored form, and the vertex form. In this lesson, we'll look at graphs of quadratic functions when they are given in factored form. In the factored form, we have f of x is equal to a times x minus p times x minus q. Well, by the end of the lesson, you should be able to describe different forms of quadratic functions, and you should also be able to sketch the graph of a quadratic function when given in factored form. Well, the graph of a quadratic function, as we have already mentioned, is a parabola. Here we have an upward parabola. Now, the graph of a quadratic function in a factored form will have number 1, x-intercepts, number 2, line of symmetry, or we say axis of symmetry. Then we also have a vertex xy, and finally there is y-intercept, okay, 0, y. Now we know that in order to find or in order to sketch the graph of a quadratic function when given in factored form, we should be able to find the x-intercept, the line of symmetry, which in fact is not that necessary to reflect. Okay, you have to find if you are asked to find. Then thirdly, very important, you should know how to find the vertex and the y-intercept. And we know that the quadratic function in factored form is f of x equal to a times x minus p times x minus q. And this x-intercepts is having p, q, and this p and q are directly taken from the given function in the factored form. Now, let us look at the procedure of finding x-intercepts, vertex, axis of symmetry, and y-intercept. Firstly, x-intercept. The zeros of the function f of x are the x-intercepts, or these zeros are sometimes called roots of the function. Okay? That is, the possible values of x when f of x is equal to 0. In other words, x-intercepts are found by putting y equal to 0. That is, in place of f of x, we have put 0. So that is a times x minus p times x minus q equal to 0. Here, a cannot be equal to 0. Then, if a is not equal to 0, to have this relation true, either x minus p should be equal to 0 or x minus q should be equal to 0. That is, either x minus p is equal to 0 or x minus q is equal to 0. If x minus p is equal to 0, then x is equal to p, and if x minus q is equal to 0, then x is equal to q. So we are taking this x minus p equal to 0, we are taking p to the right hand side and it becomes positive p. Similarly, x minus q equal to 0, and when you take this negative q to the right hand side, it becomes x equal to 0. This x equal to p and x equal to pq are the x-intercepts. And sometimes you will be asked to find the coordinates of x-intercepts. Coordinates of x-intercepts are nothing but they are the coordinates of x-intercepts are p0 and q0, because x-intercepts are found when the value of y is equal to 0. Next, we will see how to find the. Let us look at how we find vertex. So in vertex, as mentioned here, we have the coordinates x and y. Now if we know how to find this x and y, then our job is done. So how do we find x? X is nothing but it is the midpoint of the x-intercepts, that is p plus q divided by 2. And to find y, just substitute whatever value you get here in the original function, that is y is equal to f of p plus q divided by 2. So again, sometimes you will just simply ask to find the coordinates of vertex. Okay, so the coordinates of vertex are nothing but the values of this x and y. So we write, therefore the coordinates of vertex are x, y. Lastly, we have to find the y-intercept. Let's see how y-intercept is found. So y-intercept is the value of y when x is equal to 0. So in the original function or the given quadratic function in factored form, you put x equal to 0. When you do that, you will get y is equal to apq. That is how we find the value of y. Remember, the value of y in y-intercept and value of y in vertex are different. Okay, so in y-intercept, when we put x equal to 0, we have a times 0 minus p times 0 minus q. 0 minus p is negative p and 0 minus q is negative q. Negative times negative positive. So a times p times q. That is how we got the y-intercept, or y is equal to apq. And again, you will be asked to find the coordinates of y-intercepts. Coordinates of y-intercepts are nothing but, let us, 0, y, because the value of x is 0 when we find y-intercepts. Well, we find these values. What we have to do is, we have to simply plot these values in the graph. First thing we have got is the value of p and the value of q. Yes. Secondly, we had the vertex x, y, and thirdly, we have also drawn the axis of symmetry, and finally we had the y-intercept. Now if we join these dots with freehand, then we are with the graph of the quadratic function. And in this lesson, as I have said, we were looking at the graph of the quadratic function in factored form. Well, if you have understood this concept, let us look at a problem, and this problem is for you. Sketch the graph of the function f of x is equal to 1 by 2 times x minus 4 times x plus 2. Well, let me do this problem for you quickly, okay, in brief. So in the solution, we know that we have to find x-intercepts, isn't it? To find x-intercepts, we have to put y equal to 0. So 1 by 2 times x minus 4 times x plus 2 equal to 0. We know 1 by 2 is not equal to 0. So either x minus 4 is equal to 0 or x plus 2 is equal to 0. If x minus 4 is equal to 0, then we get x is equal to 4. Or if x plus 2 is equal to 0, then we get x is equal to negative 2. Therefore, the coordinates of x-intercepts are 4, 0 and negative 2, 0. Next, we have to find, well, to find vertex, we have to find the value of x and value of y. Or in other words, we say we have to find x coordinate and y coordinate. So x coordinate is equal to 4 plus minus 2 divided by 2. That is 4 minus 2 divided by 2, which gives us 2 divided by 2, which comes 1. And y coordinate is equal to whatever value we get in finding x coordinate, we substitute that value in the given function. Here we got the value of x as 1. While substituting that in the given function, we have f of 1 is equal to 1 by 2 times 1 minus 4 times 1 plus 4, which gives us the value as negative 4.5. Therefore, we have the coordinates of vertex as 1, negative 4.5. Finally, we have to find y-intercepts. So to find y-intercept, we have to put the value of x equal to 0. When we do that, we got y equal to apq. In this function, the value of a is 1 by 2, the value of p is 4, and the value of q is negative 2. That's why we have y is equal to 1 by 2 times 4 times negative 2, which gives us the value of y as negative 4. Yes, so therefore the coordinates of y-intercept are 0, negative 4. As I have mentioned earlier, the value of y in y-intercept and the value of y coordinate in vertex are different. See here, the y coordinate is negative 4.5, whereas the y-intercept is negative 4. So this is what I was telling. Y in case of y-intercept is different from y in case of vertex. Okay? Plot these values in the graph and your graph looks like this. Well, let's recap. Alright, if you have understood the concept very well, I have another question for you. The question says, sketch the graph of the function f of x is equal to 2 times x minus 3 times x plus 5 and estimate the coordinate of the vertex. This question carries 3 marks and it is directly taken from BCSE 2018, meaning board exam 2018. Okay, let's do this question. Now, let us quickly recapitulate what we have learned. Firstly, we have told that the graph of a quadratic function is a parabola, and here we have an upward and upward parabola. Now, in order to sketch the graph of a quadratic function when given in factored form, the things that you have to find are, firstly, you should know how to find the x-intercepts. Then you should also know how to find the axis of symmetry. Most importantly, you should know how to find the vertex. And you should know how to find y-intercepts. Yes, you should know how to find x-intercepts. You should know how to find the axis of symmetry. Most importantly, the vertex and the y-intercept. And you should not be forgetting the quadratic function in the factored form. Well, with this, I have some work for you. From the textbook, please turn to page number 138 and do question number 1, part A, subpart 1 and 4, and part B and C. You also have to try example 2 from page number 137, and from page number 138 you should try question number 3 and 4. With this, thank you. Thank you.